difference in Jesus Christ. In tomorrow's gospel, we could see that Jesus was leading the beloved disciples, Peter, James, and John, to the mountain, and in their presence, he transfigured, and his clothes became dazzling. It was whiter than any other white things or white clothes can be found in the world. So nobody can wash any clothes that can resemble the whiteness that Jesus showed his disciples at the time of his transfiguration. So for us, dear friends, when you look into the gospel of tomorrow, so what is the reflection that we can take for us? The glory that Jesus had before the foundation of the world, that glory is being revealed to the three disciples. And they heard the voice of the Father. This is my beloved Son, listen to him. This is my beloved Son, listen to him, with whom I am well pleased. So here we could see how God himself is declaring that he is being well pleased with Jesus, because he is ready to do what God tells him. He is ready to do what God does. That's what Jesus was doing in his life. Nobody can be like Jesus. Why I'm telling in our day-to-day life also. For example, we can take the family life. Uh, Jesus mentions in the gospel saying that they become one flesh. Therefore, the husband leaves the father, mother, and then he joins with his wife, and they become one flesh. Though they may become one flesh, but in reality they are not one in spirit, because we may find there will be some conflict. They fight, they have an argument, and they have disagreement, they have disappointment between themselves. They go through happiness, they go through little suffering, because sometimes they won't listen to each other. So there are difficulties that they experience, though they are called to become one in flesh. But in the case of Trinity, it is not so. In the case of Trinity, it is not so, particularly Jesus, because Jesus was exactly doing what God does, exactly telling what God tells him to tell. And therefore there is always, he resembles God. He is the image of the invisible God, and that figure is there. So as a disciples of Christ, as a followers of Christ, as a Christian, so-called Christians or Catholic, anybody, as we are called, so we need to resemble Christ. So though we may have some failures or difficulties, like okay, we have our own weaknesses. When we resemble Christ, because Christ was a perfect man and divine. In our lives, we need to chase to become like him. We need to resemble him, doing exactly what he tells us, doing what he did. So let us practice this in our day-to-day life, and God will surely bless us. God, have a nice